Hello, Saginaw. Welcome to another episode of Saginaw Spotlight, where we shine a light on the incredible people and businesses that make our community shine. I'm your host, Alex, and today we have a truly special guest. We are diving into the world of animal rescue with someone who has dedicated her life to animals in crisis. Joining us today is Dalis, the passionate founder of Dalis to the Rescue, a nonprofit animal rescue organization in Alma, Michigan. Dallas, welcome to the show.
Hey, hi, how are you?
I am great. It's so good to have you here. Okay, let's start at the beginning. Dallas, what inspired you to establish Dallas to the Rescue, and what is your mission for the organization?
Yeah. So I started kind of I didn't mean to. It was kind of an accident. I actually from a very little girl, I was used, abused by almost every human that came across me. And so I retracted from humans and I started my love for animals at a really little age. I lived in Kansas and many times Saturday mornings, most kids were watching Saturday cartoons. I would put my brother in front of the cartoons, grab all my pillowcases, go out in the neighborhood about 8 in the morning and start saving animals, whether it be snakes or mice or whatever it was. I was saving them. Then it started kind of throughout my whole life. Any animal in crisis or in need, I was really passionate for, and I would save. Um, My dad would be always mad. My mom and dad would be mad a lot because I'd have a bunch of animals in my bedroom all the time, and they would have to find ways to feed them and all that kind of stuff. As I got into school, middle school, high school, again, kids were mean. I was bullied, picked on. So then I never left my house. I grew really close to animals. They never cheated on me, lied, stole, gossiped, was mean to me. So I dedicated my life to help them and save them. I then uh, got to an age about 18 and I became a dog groomer. And my mom was a dog groomer. So I was destined to be a dog groomer. I worked for her forever. And then people started dropping animals off to me, just left and right. And so then that was right when Facebook was kind of getting big. I would be posting the animals. And a couple girls, finally, after a couple years of that, a couple girls contacted me and said, "Hey, I see you posting animals, saving animals. You want to start an animal rescue?" I never met these girls before, and I knew them kind of, but and we started Dallas to the Rescue. We started getting all the licensings and all of that stuff. Never in a million years would I thought it was going to blow up like this, though.
Wow, that's amazing. That's an
Yeah,
amazing story.
yeah,
I think a lot of people who bond closely to the animals, it's because people didn't treat them that good, huh? That's a
absolutely.
common theme. Yeah.
It's a very common theme, and to the point where it was I decided to get in the animal world. I was a little distorted on this one, but I decided to get in the animal world so I didn't have to deal with people. So I didn't have to feel the pain that people would cause to myself, thinking, okay, if I'm going to be in the animal world, I'll never have to deal with another person. Well, that was complete opposite. I have to deal with everybody and every human. So I always say, and I choke up every time I say this, I always say that I started off saving animals, and in fact, they saved me. They actually bridged the gap between humans and myself. I was very angry and bitter, and I really had a lot of hatred in my heart to people, and they actually bridged that because I get some of these animals in that have been abused, and I mean the most horrific stories you'll hear that people do to these animals, and these animals forget instantly. They love instantly again. The forgiveness that they have showed me that I can do better with the humans race, and that not all humans are bad. That there are some really loving and giving animals. But so now my mission is, because they saved me. I'll be real honest. I don't know if I would be on this earth without animals. Because I struggled so bad with depression, but because of their bounce back from abuse, and they've showed me how to do that and become a better person because of them. So People give me way too much credit that I save animals. No, no, they save me every single day of my life. So,
Dude, dogs and cats make me a better person. They make me a better human being. Um,
yes,
when I'm in a terrible mood, grumpy, and then my dog can pull me out of that, or my cat could just pull me out of that mood and put me in a better place. And that's something people can't do that. They can't, it's a magical bond. And I feel that we abandoned we took this dog and for 10,000 years they were our best buddy, our worker, a companion. And now the world got complicated. We seem to have neglected the bond, the friendship. We have dishonored that bond. It's sad,
it's
very
very
sad.
sad. It's very sad, and to see the animals struggle and suffer due to our hands. I mean, even when, I mean, I get calls every day, people have babies and what do? They get rid of their dog. Um, these dogs, I tell people all the time, I know that people would love for me to have their dogs. I take really good care of them and they're always like, if I was to get rid of my dog, I want it to go to Dallas. And I get it. I take really good care of them, but they don't see the first part of that. They don't see when they drop their dog off and this dog cries real tears. That dog don't care about me. It don't care about how well I'm going to take care of it. It wants its people. The bond that a dog has for its people it's unbreakable. But people are quick to break that bond. And I mean, these dogs won't eat for a week or two. They cry. They try to sprint out a door every other day, trying to sprint to look for their people. I mean, they literally cry. I mean, all night long, all day long. And I have to sit here and try to comfort this dog that we have a communication barrier. They don't know what I'm trying to tell them, that it's going to be all right, that I'm going to find you a new great home. They don't know all that. All they know is that they don't know where their owners at, and they want them now. They need the comfort of their owners. It's a gut wrenching feeling when you see this dog go through that process. It is, and then you start feeling again. I have to watch myself because then I start getting back into hating people again. I start getting into that. Why did they do this? All because they had a baby, or all because, I mean, there's other options, and I can give you other options. But sometimes the animals are disposable to people. Sometimes animals, aren't a family member like they are with us. Not everybody thinks of them like that. So I just have to keep in mind that I'm doing right by them. Quit hating everybody. Just do right by animals and just keep it very separate. But it's hard. It's difficult. This is I mean, I have depression now because of it. I have high anxiety because of it. All because of this rescue. It has changed who I am, but for the worst in a lot of aspects of my life. It affects a lot of relationships. I lose friends. My husband and I's relationship has been rocky. I mean, this is a 7 day a week 24-hour days. Animals don't care that Easter's coming up. I don't get to have Easter with my family. I have to be at the rescue and feed and water the animals. They don't care it's Easter. So Christmas, I don't get to spend Christmas with my family. I have to be here at the rescue. So you start feeling a little used and abused, and you start feeling a little icky towards people, but it's a battle every day. It's a battle every day, and I continue it, and I battle whether I should quit and just have a normal life. I can't go on vacations with my family. I can't, I'm getting older. I want to enjoy life, but there's still more animals to be saved, so I can't stop yet.
Is it possible for you to train a mentor and eventual assistant to take over the management of the operation so that you can retire at some point?
Yeah, I have a really great staff right now of young girls. They're all in their 20s. They're wonderful. They are amazing here, but nobody wants it. They know the work in this,
It's a
they
full-time, it's
it's and it affects every aspect of your whole entire life in not a great way. My employees get days off. They get, I make sure they get days off. I make sure they only work 40 hours a week. I don't want to overwork them. There's a burnout rate and there's a suicide rate in rescue. So I don't want them to be I will take that burden. I take on the burden of all of that. I just want them to still want to come to work and take care of the animals, but not be overworked. So my both my daughters work for me. They are the director and the facilities manager, and they both work for me, but they don't want it. Once I quit, they don't. They say they quit.
only.
They want a life too.
Yeah, that's so sad because there's going to be a void when you quit that a lot of animals will not get help. It's very
Yeah.
sad.
It's very sad because on top of it, it's not a job, it's not a career. I don't make a penny. I always say I'm the dummy that works 80, 90 hours a week and don't make one penny. This is a nonprofit, so I don't make a penny, so therefore I have to work another job to pay the bills, which I have my dog and cat grooming salon inside the rescue that I have to work. So I'm multitasking. I have to make sure that I make my grooming customers happy so they keep coming back so I can pay my bills, on top of trying to manage 500 animals and 5 employees with so many partnerships that I have with colleges. And I have partnerships everywhere, so I'm in and out of the shop. I'm trying to groom dogs, I'm trying to feed them, I'm trying to make sure I have a list of all my supplies every week. I'm trying to still rescue but still adopt out, but still, it's just, I'm so spread thinly, and you don't make a penny. You don't make a single penny, and work I work harder in the rescue than I've ever worked in any other job, and you don't make a penny. So people know this. People don't. They're like, well, that's dumb. I don't want. I don't want to run a rescue because I don't make a penny. So it's you have to do it just out of love. It's a hobby. It's just out of pure love. And people. I run on pure donation, so I can only rescue what I have for money. I can only rescue what I have for space. So when somebody calls and this dog's going to be euthanized today, and I don't have space or money, that dog dies. I feel like I have to play God sometimes. Like, I don't have no room or space. Now I don't have room or space. Now this dog dies. How do I say that? How do I make that decision? Well, I don't, and I take it in, and I overcapacitate myself, and I stress myself out even more because I took him in because I cannot handle it to be. I don't want the blood on my hands at all. So it's such a battle around here. Everybody thinks, oh my gosh, I would love to have an animal rescue, and the rewards are amazing. They really, really are. But man, there's a lot of bad in rescue.
There's a lot of bad. There's a lot of bad. And well, I noticed that your motto is spay and neuter, and that's super important. How do you work education into your rescue efforts?
Yeah, so I do have an educational program that I use. I have a couple dogs, a couple cats, and some bunnies, and I'll take them to schools. I will take them to assisted living homes. I take them to assemblies, anywhere that anybody wants me to come. And I do that for free on my own dime, on my own everything, just so I can try to get through to people to stay and neuter. I'm never going to be able to rescue us out of this. There's just too many animals it's never ending. It's not a battle I'm going to win ever. I will die with animals being abused and needing rescue. But if I can get the world to start spaying and neutering and lessen the number of animals that are coming into this world, so that the animals that are in this world get adopted before we bring more into this world, then that is my main mission. My mission isn't to rescue animals. It really isn't. It's part of what I do, but my mission is to not rescue animals. My mission is to keep animals with their people. So if somebody calls me and they say, I'm going through some hard times, I can't afford to feed my dog, will you take my dog? I will not take your dog, but I will buy you dog food. I will get you over the hump so you can keep your dog, because your dog, I don't want your dog, and your dog doesn't want to be with me. It wants to be with its owner. So if I can help somebody get over the hump, if I have the money, is the problem. If I have the money, I will most definitely do. If you need help spaying and neuter your animal, I might only have $40 to donate towards that, and it might be $100 surgery, but I will offer that. I have $40. Can you come up with the $60? Anything I can to help people keep their animals. But spaying and neutering is so important to get us out of this. So
Yeah,
important.
it really is. Yeah. Oh, um, I read that you work with a correctional facility, the Positive Connections program. That sounds interesting. Tell us about that.
Yeah, yeah. So we ran it for a few years. It actually, the 1st of January, we actually let it go. So we don't have it any longer. But it was a really amazing program for the inmates and the dogs themselves. It was probably one of my biggest passions, and one of my favorite things to do, was to go into that prison and see these dogs being transfer from trans to have a transformation like the inmates do, and to see these inmates. Oh my gosh, when I would go in there, it was like, it's hard to explain. When I would go into that prison, I would go in there every Monday, and when I would go in there, the inmates would come and they would be, I mean, these are big burly men, these are criminals, and they would surround me and they would be like big teddy bears. The things that animals make a person feel, and they would just be like picking their puppy up and they're like, look, Dallas, I don't know if he's got a broken toenail or what, but he keeps picking up his paw. And I'm like, oh, he's just playing you, you're cuddling him, so he's playing you, and he's like, "Oh, well, I just love him." I mean, the amount of things that these dogs brought into these inmates' lives, and then they would start coming up to me and say, "You don't even know how this. I'm getting ready to get out of prison in a couple years, and." And I was a hard criminal. I didn't know love. Nobody's loved me. And I haven't loved people. I've been in here for 20 years, and it's rough and it's hard. He says, but now that I've worked with the dogs have showed me so much love. Now when I get out, the one guy told me, now when I get out, I know how to love my grandkids. I know how to be tender with them and be gentle with them. The dogs taught him that. He now has he's a better person because of it. So when he gets out, he's not rough and tough. He's got a little bit of compassion now because of a dog taught him that. The amount of things that these dogs taught these inmates. I thought I was going to put a bunch of dogs in there. They were going to train some dogs. I was going to find them some homes, and I was going to go home. Nothing like that. I mean, this wasn't even really about the dogs, to be honest. This was about these inmates and bettering our systems in this world, bettering our prison systems. It's all wrong. That nothing in there prepares these people to get out into this world and that's what we do. We throw them out into this world and we're like, here, and wonder why they go back. They have no tools, they have no compassion, they have no nothing. We haven't taught them anything, we haven't gave them anything, but these dogs did. These dogs gave them so many tools and so many things for them to learn and to do when they get out. Some of the one of the inmates actually adopted one of his dogs that he trained, and he adopted that 2 years ago. And he updates me about every 2-3 months about what him and his dog is doing. They go kayaking and this and that, and it's just
Yeah.
he says that dog bringing that dog home with him from prison, it changed his life. It was an amazing program, absolutely amazing.
That is beautiful story. That is heartwarming. Wow. Hey, let's talk about another happy dog. I've been following you on Facebook. Let's talk about Dennis the Menace. What a character he is, right?
Oh, Dennis, yeah.
So
Yeah, Dennis
he's
is
like,
he's a character.
he looks like he's maybe 6 months old. Is that right?
He's about a year old. He's almost a year old now.
Okay.
So yep, he's one of them dogs that is what I educate people with. When you get a dog, you have to start with training instantly. And so people think they have this assumption that they're gonna get this cute puppy, this cute puppy's gonna do everything that they say, and it's gonna be all roses and lollipops with the dog and the family. Well, that's not how it always goes. Dog comes in and it's like a tornado and it just starts eating everything and tearing up your shoes and your couches and then people, what do? They stick them in a cage and just they don't want to be bothered by him, or they stick them outside on a chain or whatever. So they don't train these dogs. They don't work with these dogs. And then the dog starts getting older and older and older, and it knows nothing. It's just literally doesn't know a word. And then you get a dog like Dennis that goes absolutely crazy in his brain and just has all of these thoughts because he's just been a contained animal for so long that he's just like, oh my gosh, I got to do everything all right now. And he's just but now that I'm working with him, he's calming down a little bit. He's still a terror, but he's calming down a little bit. And he knows commands now. He knows sit, he knows stay, he knows come. Now he's knowing commands. And so once a dog starts knowing commands, then they start learning, what's expected out of him. But I holler Dennis probably 4,000 times a day still. So
That's part of training, right?
that's
Is
part of it.
no, he's gonna learn that word no, right?
Yes, he knows that word no.
He ripped up a lot of stuff too, huh? Didn't he?
Oh,
He ripped
oh
up your whole
man.
bus.
The buses, I mean, but I mean, everybody sits on metal now. There's not a bus seat with a cushion on it. And I mean, he's doing a lot better though. He's doing a lot better. I can tell him no, and I can tell him leave it. He don't want to. He gives me kind of the side eye, but he'll leave it. He's just a work in progress. He's just a work in progress. Like most of these dogs. Most dogs that I get, nobody gives me a perfect angel of a dog. And I don't even know if I've ever met a perfect angel of a dog because I've never met a perfect angel of a person either. So, they come in with some problems and then I just try to work with them. But yeah, I mean, Dennis came with with the big problem of just terrorizing everything. So,
One thing he's got going for him, he's very cute. So are people offering to adopt him?
they like the idea of it. But no, there hasn't been. I mean, there's a couple people that have said I would adopt Dennis, and I said, let's give him a little bit. Let's give him and see how he's, because I mean, once he sees your couch, you ain't gonna have a couch. I don't have a couch in my house, so
You
he didn't
gotta
have to.
you
He
gotta
didn't
puppy
get a
proof
couch.
the whole house, right?
You
You
do.
do.
You got to puppy proof the whole house, and that's what I do. I mean, my house is. I mean, it's almost like a jail, and that's how puppy proof it is. So you can't
Eh,
really do much in my house.
yeah. Fascinating, fascinating. Um, this is a good time to take a break and thank our sponsor, B&H Renovations, right here in Saginaw. B&H Renovations specializes in repairing foundation issues and basement and crawl space waterproofing. I waterproofed my basement and I highly recommend it. B&H Renovations has over 23 years of experience and can give you a free quote. Mention this ad and get 10% off your foundation or waterproofing project. Just call B&H Renovations at 517-525-1584. And we are back with Dallas from Dallas to the Rescue. Dallas, for those who are interested in supporting your organization, what are some ways they can get involved?
Yeah. So we do a lot of different things. I work really closely with the community cabinet here in Alma, which is a cabinet that gives to people. And so they have a cabinet for foods, non-perishable foods. And so I linked up with them because that also goes with animals in my heart. And so if I get extra money, extra donations, or extra dog food donations, I call up the community cabinet and they come and pick up all my donations so we can spread the love to the community as well. I work with the Elma College. We do a lot of different programs for the Elma College. I have Kitty Cat Night that we do once a month, which we typically try to put Kitty Cat Night towards stressful events, like say that if it's exam week, we will bring in Kitty Night so the kids can kind of decompress a little bit. The students can decompress during exam week because it is very stressful. We also work with Elma College with their volunteer program. They have a program that the kids can sign up for nonprofits and volunteer, and so a lot of the different sports teams and clubs will come over here and volunteer, and which is a really good program. Volunteering is really good because it puts people hands on. They see really what we do. I think a lot of people think we just sit around and play with animals all day long, which is like zero time we do that. I always say that I don't get to play with animals much because we have to clean them. We have to take care of them all the time. So we don't get to play with them much. So it's really nice for the volunteers to see that. We also, like I said, I have my educational program that I do. I go on Mondays, go to the schools in assisted livings. I wrote a children's book. So I'll go to March reading month. I'll go to all the schools and read my children's book to them. We work with lots of low cost spay and neutering programs. I know I'm missing all kinds of things that I do. But yeah, I'm big into community. I'm big with the community. I want to make sure the community knows that they got some support if with my supporters and the followers that we have as well. And we do really, really well with helping the people. If my followers are amazing. If there's a problem with somebody, all I have to do is post something and they're really good about helping out.
Yeah. I think I was at Alma College once when you guys brought your dogs. There was some event that was like made people feel afraid, I guess. I can't remember what it was though. But you brought the dogs into the library, I remember, and then students were petting the dogs. Was that your group?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yeah. I can't remember why we were doing that too. Yeah.
Was it COVID or was it?
It, it
It
might
was
have
something
been.
before.
Yeah, I can't
Something,
think, but I remember
just
that
something
us being in the
scary.
library. Yeah,
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 I remember seeing the dogs there.
yeah.
So those had to be special dogs because they have to be very friendly, right?
Absolutely. So I always tell everybody that I don't bring the rescue dogs. I don't bring the dogs that are up for adoption or anything like that. Because I bring the dogs that can handle all of the touching and all of the loud noises. If there's loud noises, I mean, sometimes we're in an assembly of 300, 400 people. There's clapping and loud and da da da. So a lot of dogs can't handle all of that. So I have specific dogs that I assess when I do get them, and I assess them and see if they can handle them kind of things, and then them dogs go with me. I have a core group of dogs that go with me, and they do amazing. And in fact, they look forward to it. They all know how to open up the school doors with the handicap push buttons. You'll see my dogs will just. I'm like, okay, guys, you just let yourself into school. They do really really good. But yeah, I got to take animals that can handle a lot. And not a lot of dogs can handle all of that kind of stuff. So I do. I got a core like 3 or 4 of them that do really well.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. There are so many sad stories in animal rescue. But before we wrap up, is there a happy story that comes to mind?
Oh, there's many happy stories. There are so
Yeah.
many happy stories. I mean, the happy does outweigh the not so happy.
Really?
Yeah,
Good,
it
good.
really does because it's we try to find any sort of happy into all of this. So when we do rescue a dog that's been really abused or neglected or anything like that, we're sad for a little while, but then the happy comes and you get them well, and it's been a bunch of money to save them, a bunch of money to get vetting and all of that, and then you find that person that I have one story. This story is really touching. It was probably a few years ago. I'd say 3 4 years ago. This older gentleman. I think he's in his 80s. Um, he lost his wife. And they were married for like 60 years or something crazy. And he was lonely and he was sad. He was going in and out of doctors. He was depressed. He didn't want to live no more. He wanted no more part of living. And so his family said, well, why don't, oh no. Then his wife died 1 month. The next month, his dog died, spun him right out of control into depression. So his family said, why don't we get you another dog? And he said, okay, we'll search. We'll search. Well, the problem with an 80-year-old man finding a dog is that, the dog might outlive him. So it's really difficult to find the right dog because, again, I don't want my dogs passed back and forth amongst people. I don't want somebody to pass away and then I got to find a new home, or they got to find a new home, because that dog's going to be sad again. It's just going to keep getting sad and behavior problems. So we had to find this specific dog. Well, we called his children, his daughter, and explained the situation. Listen, he's 80. We have a concern of him being at 80 years old about, having a dog. Are you close with your dad? Can you take the dog? Because the dog will be familiar with the family members. So can you take the dog if something was to happen to this gentleman? And she said, absolutely. In fact, I live right next door to my dad. I see and talk to him every single second of my life. Absolutely. I mean, the dog's going to be coming back forth to my house too, and da 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 da. I'm like, awesome, perfect. I found him a dog. I found him a perfect dog. This dog was at a shelter. Her parent, the dog's owners passed away. So this dog was sad. This dog was older, a little bit older, blah, blah, blah. They were the bestest of friends. They were the by he, I mean, he didn't have to even go see specialist for his depression anymore. It brought him right out of everything. It just changed who he was. And then that dog passed away. And he was devastated again. And we cried and we cried. And he came in and he cried and we cried and we hugged him. And I said, you know what, Ernie? I just got a really special dog in, a really special dog. And it was this little black and white little bulldog that he'd been through it. And I said, you want to meet him? He says, I'm really sad, but I'll meet him. And that dog came on. That dog had been sad here. We couldn't get that dog to even wag his tail. He came out and he looked at Ernie, and that dog's eyeballs got about this big. That dog's tail started wagging. The dog went all over Ernie, licking and kissing him, and just and I said, now walk. I want to make sure that you can walk him so he doesn't trip you up. And he could. And that dog never. I mean, when Ernie would move a couple steps, the dog moved a couple steps. Never dragged him. Never, like, he was meant for this gentleman. And to this day, this gentleman is, I mean, he updates us. He is just enamored by that dog. We brought him out of depression, and he thanks us profusely about
Oh,
how sad he was, and now he's back. So it was a really cool story, and we try
oh,
to stay involved in our adopters' lives forever in case something comes up, and we can give them tips, or we try to stay in their lives forever. And because we love our adopters like their family. I mean, these animals are like our family. So it was a really cool story, and he was really happy. So
that is beautiful. That is a
yeah.
beautiful story. So heartwarming. And these heartwarming stories highlight the impact of your work. Um, for the listeners who are interested in volunteering or adopting, fostering, or even donating, how can they reach you?
Yeah, so we have the best way to do it is our phone. I have two girls that run our phone systems here, so that's the best way to do it. And our phone number here is 989-463-9797, and they can answer every single question you have about volunteering, fostering, adopting, all of that good stuff. We also have a website, just dallas2therescue.com, and that's where all of our links are on for our Cash Apps and our PayPal and our Venmo if anybody wants to donate. It's also where you can put an application in to foster or to adopt. And you can always message us on Facebook. I don't really have a lot of time to answer them, but sometimes we can, or it'll just sometimes pop up. Just give us a call. But them are some ways you can get a hold of us.
Fantastic. Well, Dallas, you do amazing work with these animals, and without you, it's gonna be much more difficult for these dogs to find homes. So please don't give up and keep this and find a successor because the dogs need someone, and it's really special work that you're doing. I can't say that enough. And thank you. And for our listeners, please consider helping by adopting, fostering, volunteering, or donating. Visit DallasToTheRescue.com to learn more and support these animals in need. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. You can find us on Spotify, Facebook, and YouTube. Just search for Saginaw Spotlight. Until next time, Saginaw, keep shining.